YouTube, Dark Edition of Team Sorcerers here, and welcome back to What If Wednesday. This was something I thought about for a while now, but never got around to doing it until now. And I thought I would, after doing the video on my channel, Top 10 Most Infuriating Arguments I've Ever Been in. And it's in regards to Elemental HERO Stratos. Now, for those who may not know, Stratos did get banned on the September 2013 list and didn't get unbanned for another 5 years. Which, like I said before, I felt was just unfair and unjustified because heroes did nothing, and it was because of the Blaze Phoenix / Harpy Dancer FTK that it got banned. And even though Divine Wind of Mist Valley got limited and Ancient Fairy Dragon eventually got banned back in 2018, Stratos didn't come back. But this brings about the whole point of the video. What if Stratos was never banned? How much would this change? Well, I guess for a start, something else would have to be banned. I mean, E-Emergency Call would probably stay semi-limited, which I wouldn't be thrilled about, but I'd be okay with it. Although I felt it was kind of bullshit that we could only have 3 E-Emergency Calls, while 6 Samurais could have Smoke Signal at 3 again. But that's another story. So yeah, I feel like E-Emergency Call would stay semi-limited until about September 2018. I say that because, well, that was when Stratos was unbanned, and it would sort of fit the theme here, along with the fact that Thunder Dragon Colossus would be coming out like a month or 2 later, which of course shuts down searches anyway. So what would get banned instead of Stratos? I mean, something would have to be done to stop the FTK. I mean, I've said a few times already that Blaze Phoenix should have been the one to get banned, because that was the real problem. So it would either be that or Ancient Fairy Dragon. Either way, if you lose one or the other, the FTK can't be done. But if Ancient Fairy Dragon got banned, then would Divine Wind of Mist Valley still get limited? I guess it still would have done, because even after all this, Divine Wind of Mist Valley got limited on the January 2014 list, and it's stayed at 1 ever since. You know, even when Ancient Fairy Dragon got banned, like I said. So I guess maybe there was some sort of other broken combo that people could do with it. I don't know. I mean, if there is, I can't think what it could be. But I don't know. Realistically, Blaze Phoenix should have been banned, although, to be fair, I guess even if that was done, then Ancient Fairy Dragon would have still been banned later on, which I believe was because of spirals and ABCs, if I remember correctly, because those are the only competitive decks from back then I could think of that just used and abused Ancient Fairy Dragon. But either way, Stratos was still around, and I guess it would give players all the more reason to keep playing Bubble Beat and Hero Beat, even though the format would still be dominated by dragon rulers, prophecies, and mermales, plus evil swarms. I guess along with being able to play Stratos, the other difference would be Bubble Beat and Hero Beat still being played, although I think eventually competitive players would be more interested in the stuff that was coming out from that point onwards. Boojins, what else was there? Trap Tricks, Heretic. No. Actually, Heretics hardly saw a lot of play. I don't know why I said that. And eventually Hat. Oh yeah, Gia Karakuri. So yeah, with Stratos still around, there'd be no annoying arguments over Stratos about whether or not it should stay banned or come back. Now I know in late September that year, Derek had a tournament around his place where we were allowed to use one banned card, and because I was using Elemental Heroes at that point, I chose Stratos, but with Stratos not banned, I would have chosen something else. Probably either Heavy Storm or Graceful Charity. Because Graceful Charity would help with consistency and let me discard Necrochet to the graveyard, whereas Heavy Storm would help me get rid of annoying back row. So yeah, it would have been one or the other that I would have chosen. So yeah, that would be a case for a lot of the time, and Stratos would actually be printed in the Hero Strike structure deck, which would help it sell more, I guess. Of course, Super Poly would still end up being banned though, which would still really piss me off, and it would. And of course, that was because Shadows would be using and abusing it. I guess Heroes would still use it a lot, to be fair, but Shadows would see a lot more competitive play than Heroes still, and they just use and abuse it a lot more and end up getting it limited and then eventually banned. And I would still be really pissed off about this, because that just took away an option to get rid of negates. I mean, that was all I ever used Super Poly for. Well, mainly back then, to just get rid of negates. Because without that, there was literally no way to get rid of them, unless, of course, I negated the summon somehow. But other than that, we were just fucked. And keep in mind, kaijus didn't exist yet, so yeah, that would have been infuriating. Yeah, and I almost forgot about the transition from Dark Magician Hero to pure Dark Magician. What would happen there? Well, here's the thing. In the real timeline, when Stratos got banned, I was stuck whether or not to stick with Dark Magician Hero, go back to Legendary Hero, or play pure Dark Magician again. I did stick with Dark Magician Hero for a while, but eventually I did go back to playing pure Dark Magician, but with Stratos still around, I guess there'd have been no motivation to bring Legendary Hero or Dark Magician back. I mean, I did anyway, temporarily, for the 10-year anniversary celebrations of when I got into the game. No, I would have stuck with Dark Magician Hero. Although even when Super Poly got banned, so I would have stuck with Dark Magician Hero even early on in Arc 5 era, and just kept it around. I don't know whether or not things would have started happening that would have made me quit tournaments. It depends how easily Dark Magician Hero could have coped against the meta without Super Poly. It would have been more tricky, so I don't know, maybe I probably still would have done, if not then in 2017. But of course, when the Dark Magician support from the Dark Illusion got announced, that would have given me all the more reason to play pure Dark Magician again. So the plan would have been to stick with Dark Magician Hero until then, and then, but then of course, there'd have been no reason for me to ever create Gagaga Dark Magician and Pendulum Dark Magician. So yeah, they would have never been a thing, and I wouldn't have finished second with Pendulum Dark Magician or won that locals with Pendulum Dark Magician. So would I have even won a locals in 2016? Apart from that tag tournament, I don't know. That's another thought. With Stratos not banned, it would have been a helpful asset in my Rainbow Neos deck still, and I guess it would have made things a bit easier for me and Brute Boy to win that tag team tournament with Rainbow Neos and Yang Zings. But it's hard to say whether or not we would have still lost the title in the following one. Probably, or because of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon and Hope Harbinger. But anyway, once I'd got the Dark Magician support from the Dark Illusion and the Dark Side of Dimensions movie pack, Dark Magician Hero would have finally been retired, and this time for good, and pure Dark Magician would have come back. And yeah, that's when I finally would have been able to play pure Dark Magician again. But of course Stratos would still see play in my other hero decks, of course. There wouldn't be a whole lot of other differences. And then of course, I feel like, well, like I said, emergency call would have eventually gone back to 3, even if it was the September 2018 list where it would have happened, and then nothing would be different after that. And yeah, that's pretty much what would have happened if Stratos never got banned. But what do you think? Thanks for watching.